Welcome to the official Windows 8 channel, and this is a quick video to explain to you a little feature that can sometimes be useful when you have apps, programs, and maybe all sorts of error messages and crashes. There's a little feature in Windows. It's been there for a while. As far as I know, it's been there in almost every version of Windows. The farthest back I remember that it existed was Windows 98. And it's called the Event Viewer. The Event Viewer is basically a file on your computer that is written about all that is going wrong, every error message your computer ever made, with date and timestamp. And it's an interesting little feature because for a tech guy, that file can help you maybe pin down what causes a problem or error messages in your computer itself. How do you go to the event viewer? Basically, you just go to the bottom left corner of the screen and right click. And there you'll go into a little feature called Event Viewer. It's directly there in the list. The Event Viewer is divided into a few categories. So you've got local, which is really what's happening in your computer. In the bottom of this window, you already have a list of log summaries of all the different programs and all the different applications that actually can write information. And you'll have at the top information about critical errors and problems that actually happened in your computer. So for example, here it says 20 critical in the last 7 days, 71 errors in the last 7 days, 101 warnings, and lots of information, as you can see. Now, keep in mind one thing: you'll always have errors in Windows, and it doesn't mean that it's real bad errors. Basically, some of the errors are simply, for example, one thing that can happen is suppose your clock did not synchronize with the time over the internet. Well, that will count as an error, but it's not really an error technically. It can happen if you weren't on the web, for example. So you can check this list here and see what errors and what actually happened. You've got all the information here. It tells you basically what type of error, and you can view the log and view the analytics. And it's particularly useful if you actually have error messages and want to know basically when it happened. So you can go into the Windows logs on the left side and click applications, for example, and see when did it have problems. For example, here it says today at 3:06, which is 4 minutes ago, there's an error here, and this error is disabled performance counter data collection from the Outlook service because the performance counter library for that service has generated one or more errors. Now, the helpful tool that you can have sometimes is more information. You can click Event Log Online Help and see if some information is available about that problem here. Now it says here page not followed because it's basically probably not an error. So you got to be really careful about what it's written, because not everything that says error is an error or a problem. So you got to be careful and know how to interpret everything that's here. But if your computer stopped at a certain date and time, it's a good idea to go to the Event Viewer and check on that date and that time, is an application crashed? What's the problem with security or the setup or the system itself? What crashed and what is the errors? And make sure that if you had a crash, is there a log and what does it say? Sometimes it's gonna pinpoint to a piece of software or maybe a piece of hardware that actually crashed. And so you can pin down what happened in the event viewer. I would say the event viewer gives you practical and useful information maybe 50% of the time when there's a crash. Because 50% of the time it doesn't pinpoint necessarily the good thing. The problem in computers is that, an example, if RAM memory is defective, it's not gonna tell you RAM is defective. It's gonna tell you what crashed because of RAM defects. But it doesn't tell you that it's RAM. It just tells you, well, this application crashed and made a blue screen of death, for example. But at the same time, the application was okay. It's just that because of bad RAM memory, that application crashed. So you got to be careful in the way you actually look at these error messages, and don't panic. Everybody has error messages. You see here I have some, and my computer works really well. It doesn't mean your computer is having a problem if you see error messages in here. So be careful with that. Don't call a tech guy just because you got a warning or an error message. For example, distributed COM or DCOM is often an error message, but it's not a problem. So you got to really be careful about what is a real problem and what's not a big problem. And especially if your computer actually works well, then don't start playing around and trying to fix something that's already working. Keep simple and keep to the rule that if it does work, if everything works well, don't try to fix it. It works well, and that's it. So that was kind of a little informational video on the event viewer. So it's available by going to the down left corner, right click, and go into event viewer for a little information about your applications and what's happening with your computer over time. If you have any comments, questions, let us know. If you enjoy videos, maybe you've got that new Windows 8 machine, are a little lost on using it, click the subscribe button and you'll be informed when new videos are online. And hey, if you have a request of a feature you'd like us to see and put a video on, let us know. We'll try to put that video. If you have a video that you want to ask for, there's a good chance that a lot of people want to learn also about that same information and that same application or whatever feature of Windows. So not only you'll learn, but a lot of people are going to learn also. And hey, hope you take a look at our other videos on the official Windows 8 channel, and hope you come back. Bye-bye.